Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 13, spooky, of the Game Groofs podcast, the all-encompassing weekly gaming podcast from the Goodnight Groofs. That's us. My name is Matt, and today I'm joined by Mike and Josh. No Paul today. He's off doing more important things. Just kidding, there's nothing more important than this. Guys, instead of asking you how you're doing this week, we're just going to jump right in. Instead of asking you how you're doing this week, I want to ask everyone what their peak of the week has been. So what's the best thing that happened to you this week, Josh?
Oh, son of a bitch. You know, I could have sat here and thought about this. And instead, I did not. So we're just going to say peak of the week, cop out again, is Florida winning their second game of the season. Will it be the third game this coming weekend? Probably not. But you know what? At least we got the second win in the bag, baby. Let's go.
Alabama coming up. It's a big one. It's a big one.
Probably going to tear us from a limb, but you know, that's fine. That's okay. We're going to have fun while it happens.
Mike, what about you? What was your peak of the week?
Guild Wars 2 revealed the Elementalist Elite spec. It's called Catalyst. It's everything I ever wanted for an Elementalist. This is complete sarcasm. It looks like trash.
Okay.
But that being said, still a peak of the week because I was looking forward to it. Regardless, it looks okay. It looks very uninspired and kind of boring. But, you know, what do you think of when you think an Elementalist? People hitting things with hammers, clearly.
Oh,
yeah, my favorite mage tactic, of course.
Yeah.
My favorite element is workshop tools.
It's really disappointing after them showing off Warrior getting basically a new weapon type. They're getting a gun saber as a different weapon. They sent out a press release like today explaining how it's supposed to work, and essentially Warrior's losing weapon swap, and instead they're getting a gun saber in addition to whatever their actual weapon set will be. So it's kind of like a conjured weapon, kind of not. It's neat. It's really cool. We're getting a hammer that you hit people with. Also really cool. I don't know.
It feels a little uninspired, I gotta say. After looking at everything else and what everybody else gets, it's like, all right, what do we fucking give wizards? Hammers, I don't know.
How about guns? Just give us guns. Give everyone guns.
Elemental bullets. Who cares? Go with it.
Nah, it's fine. They've got a show tomorrow to show off the actual class, which I will be watching and probably become even more disappointed when it turns out to just be the tank spec that I expected them to give us, because they're misinterpreting our complaints for dying all the time as you need a tank spec and not let's fix the survivability on the class. Anyways, my tirade's over. That was my peak of the week. What about you, Matt? What was your peak?
Well, before I get into my peak, I will say the only time that hammers are cool in this context is when they're giant. Well, when they're called maces, that's when hammers are cool. When they're giant two-handed maces that you're a paladin that you're carrying around and smiting people with your holy light, that's the only time that they're cool. All right, my peak of the week was just generally the free time that I've had in between jobs right now. So still kind of helping out with the old one, but just kind of doing that out of the goodness of my heart. So not around all the time, just kind of got a lot of free time. So playing a lot of games and jumping around into a bunch of different games. That's really why I haven't played as much Deathloop as I wanted to at this point, because I've just been jumping around playing so many different things, and we'll talk about it later. But yeah, it's been nice to be able to just kind of relax and not worry about what time I'm waking up necessarily in the morning, and just kind of hanging out. That has been the peak of my week.
It's unrivaled, that cup of coffee and then a video game first thing in the morning. Unrivaled, bro.
Love it. Yeah, and even, I will say though, that's more special on like a Saturday morning when you did work the entire week. It means more.
I agree.
All right, let's move into trending topics. In trending topics, I give our panelists a choice between 3 search terms. They have to tell me which one they think got the most searches over the last 7 days via stats from Google Trends. We'll play 3 quick rounds. I think these are good ones this week. I'm interested in this one. We've had stinkers in the past. I will admit. All right. Battlefield 2042, Halo Infinite, or Call of Duty Vanguard?
Ah, shit.
Battlefield 2042.
With the delay, Battlefield 2042.
All right, you are some smart boys. It was Battlefield 2042.
For all the sad reasons.
Now, sometimes that does backfire on you, though. Picking what's in the news.
It's true. It does.
Picking what should be a trending topic is actually not a trending topic.
Hey, you never know. All right, the second round: PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, or Nintendo Switch?
PlayStation 5.
Nintendo.
It was Nintendo Switch.
Why?
My only thought was they're running out of OLED models. I don't know why people are searching for OLED
they're
models.
They're running out of PS5s.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's just become standard. I don't know why more people are going for that OLED model, but maybe that's why people are looking for it. Who knows?
Could be. And the final round: GameSpot, Game FAQs, or Eurogamer?
Eurogamer. I don't know why. Going with it.
GameSpot.
The answer is Game FAQs. People are really still searching for those FAQs.
Who goes to Game FAQs?
I didn't realize it was like still a notable thing.
I will say I haven't been to Game FAQs since like 2004, maybe. It's been a really long time.
It's been a while. I didn't know that they still existed.
Maybe they still have good guides. I don't know. I didn't even doing this experiment and seeing that it was #1. I didn't go to the website. So GameSpot was not even like a super close second, I don't think. It was really weird. And then I did throw in, when I was doing this, I just tested and put an IGN, and obviously they blew everyone out of the water. But,
well, yeah.
But I really thought GameSpot would have taken the crown here. They did not. So GameSpot, you guys got some work to do. All right. Let's move on to the big question. I think this is an interesting one this week. Now, we've seen a number of games being delayed lately. Just this week, Battlefield 2042 was delayed by a month, and Dying Light 2 Stay Human was delayed yet again. Industry insider Jeff Grubb, among others, stated that these are not the last of the delays that we'll be seeing over the next couple weeks. When the topic of delayed games comes up, people often point out the famous quote from Shigeru Miyamoto, which is, "A delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad." Now, this quote isn't necessarily relevant anymore in the days of patching and updates. For example, we've seen games like No Man's Sky and Final Fantasy XIV fall flat on their face out the gate, only to later make massive jumps. We've also seen games that were long delayed, like Duke Nukem Forever, fail miserably. So here's the question. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear about a game being delayed? What are some red flags or green flags that you've noticed when it does come to game delays? Mike, let's head over to you first. What are your thoughts on this whole thing?
The first thing that comes to mind when I hear about a game being delayed is, oh, it's not ready. And then I just note the new release date and move on with my life. I just I work in product development, so like I understand that things get delayed, and I understand that things aren't perfect. So it's like with any product, it happens. The second part of this question was more interesting to me. What are red flags or green flags? I think like something like Halo Infinite being delayed, that would be a red flag, because they haven't shown much faith in what they've been releasing as far as like the campaign goes. And that makes you start to wonder, do they actually have faith in this product? Granted, it is Microsoft, they are going to back their horse by it, but like then you got to think about like games like Titanfall 2 that were just sent out to pasture, and you got to like weigh in whether or not the company itself feels like they have a good product, or if they're just trying to stitch together what they have to release something that's releasable.
Right.
That's basically all I got.
So I'll jump in here. I think that when you have a game that's really ambitious, like Cyberpunk 2077 or Crackdown 3, I think that delays with games like that are highly ambitious usually means that the game is fundamentally broken and they just can't get it to work in the way that they want to. So whenever I see a game that's promising all these things, it's supposed to be genre defining or change a genre or whatever, and that's getting delayed, that tells me that there are serious problems going on, that they just can't get things going, especially when the delays are sort of indefinite or we aren't really sure, or it's multiple delays. Like the whole Crackdown 3 thing, like that was just, nobody knew. People had no idea what was going on with that game. That ended up sort of in a development hell state. I won't say Cyberpunk ended up in a development hell state. They were a little bit more communicative about their delays. But you could tell, like, this massive game, there had to be something going on. And we all really should have known this the whole time, that this game is promising the world and it's got all these delays. There's something not right. So specifically in the last year and a half with COVID, it can be hard to tell which delays are actually because of the pandemic and which delays are using the pandemic as an easy explanation when there's really more to the story. And so I think that's where you really have to look for these red flags and green flags, I guess, to gauge which are the delays that are necessary because it just needs a little bit more time to cook, and which are the delays that are happening because the game is just not working. It's like Skull and Bones, for example. Clearly that game, and the stories have come out over the last couple months, like that the development on that game is just not working. And as much as I want Skull and Bones to be amazing, I have no confidence in it. How could you have confidence in it? It's a highly ambitious game that is getting delayed over and over again. I think they just don't even know what the game is. And so I think that's a massive red flag. Josh, what about you?
I think it depends on the delay, and COVID, like you said, has definitely made it difficult to tell what delays are good, what delays are bad. Right. I'm obviously going to go back to my old reliable as I do. While Shadowlands being an example, I played the beta. I saw videos of the beta. Shadowlands was not ready for October. It was not ready for November release. You could have backed this thing up to January, February, and while it would have lit the world on fire, it still would have been warranted to do it. But you
still would have had half a year before the first patch.
Exactly. It's ridiculous. Like, there was no time between it. And I say all that because it kind of leads into the red flag thing. You could see, at the time, this is just a pandemic issue, adjustments working from home. They had this, work in their big office at Blizzard Entertainment, yada, 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 what have you. Green flag. They're making sure everything is working and get it out the door. Boom. Actually, turns out there's cube crawls. There's awful, horrible shit going on, and they're trying to work through a massive investigation at the time, which I'm sure has delayed pretty intensely, and I know it certainly has now. So, that's just something that you may have to look for. I'll use Battlefield as another example. You get this close to October, and I just have to wonder, what fine-tuning are they really doing over the course of a month to make these changes? At its core, it has to be just a Battlefield game. My main concern is I hope they're just not patching this thing up just to be at least playable on release, right, and not a complete bug to hell mess. And I think taking just one extra month to me is just a little bit sus, in my opinion.
Yeah.
While there's times you may need to, I think it's a little bit suspect to me. If you're taking a game and you're like, all right, this bad boy isn't ready, we need 3 more months. To me, that makes a little more sense, but I think it also depends on the game. But I don't really have a succinct way to close it out. But it's good if a game is delayed and at its core, But unless, like you said, it's a big game where it has this big engrossed vision, and then by the end of it, they're still not ready for it to come out.
So let's hit on the game that sort of started this conversation today, which is Battlefield 42. I want to know what you guys think about that new date specifically, because now we're talking about a game, a major FPS that is now planted right smack dab in the middle of Call of Duty Vanguard and Halo Infinite. And only one of those 3 games doesn't have a free component to it, a free multiplayer component, and that is Battlefield. And I was talking to Paul on replay the other day when we were talking about this, that I think this is really bad for Battlefield. Really, really bad. I think that if Battlefield was before COD, you're going to have people buying Battlefield and still buying COD. The fact that it's after COD, the people who are going to buy COD are going to be all in on COD, and they're not going to buy Battlefield. Why would they? People who play their COD play their COD. Now, I also think that because of this new date, I don't think it's great for Battlefield. I still have faith that they can do well enough, but if they don't, if this doesn't succeed, there's going to be real conversations at EA about the future of this franchise. And that worries me. Josh, let's go.
I mean, I tend to agree, but I will say Battlefield does have a pretty dedicated fan base. Now that dedicated fan base, I definitely don't think outweighs Call of Duty or Halo by any means. I think those dedicated fan bases are much bigger, but I do think it's dedicated. That said, I am concerned because it feels like EA is making the same goddamn decision they did with Titanfall.
Yeah.
Sandwiching it right in between two big releases. I mean, shit, EA did it to themselves last time with their own Battlefield game. But I hope they don't mess it up because Battlefield is the one I want to succeed. But the free component to Halo and Vanguard, I assume, is it still going to be $60 right out the gate? I haven't.
Yeah, but
myself,
I mean, it has Warzone, and a new Warzone map, like the new Pacific map for Warzone, will be coming out days before the Battlefield release.
God, that's dangerous, man. You almost wonder if they'd have better luck pushing back to mid-December and just letting people get their Call of Duty and Halo fun out, and then being like, okay, I've played these games. You know, you go hard for the 4 weeks they're out, and then boom, here comes Battlefield following it up. Let's go ride around in jets and tanks for a while. It's for people, it's going to be hard to balance all three of those games because people like me, I'm going to have to sacrifice one of those games, and that's a tough decision to make.
Yeah, on GG Replay, I suggested that I think January would be a good time. There's not really anything else happening in that month aside from Elden Ring and the Battlefield and Elden Ring group. There's not a whole lot of cross-pollination there, so I think you're fine. No. I just think that the suits at EA want it for the holiday season.
Yeah, it seems that way.
But yeah, a 1 month delay, is the game going to be improved so much in that 1 month that you can afford to put it between COD and Halo? I don't know. Like this is worrisome. Mike, do you have any thoughts on this?
I guess my thought is that I don't see Battlefield 2042 doing well. That's basically it. And I think you hit the nail on the head, combining your statement with Josh's earlier one about the 1 month feeling sus. It feels like they probably needed 3 or 4 months, and execs were like, no, let's try again with that number. And they were able to massage out a month of development time for probably more bugs and other fixes that need to be done that will take, a month to do. And if it was something minor that could be done in a month, they would probably just release it on time and offer like, a day one patch or a week one patch, whatever. Like, this seems like it's bigger issues than just bug fixes. And like you said, it doesn't have a free component. They might do okay just because the setting for Battlefield is completely different from Vanguard. People might be turned off by Vanguard and want a modern setting, or people might be turned off by a modern setting and want Vanguard. Who knows? I don't know where the market is in terms of modern shooters versus World War II shooters. I think it's kind of saturated at the moment with more modern based shooters, but I don't think they're going to do well against Halo in that slot. Not even close. I mean, why buy Battlefield when I can just play Halo and have a battle pass and get constant updates and like play it for free? I think they should have pushed it further. I think they should have, but their marketing team says we have to hit holiday. At minimum, we have to hit holiday. And I don't think this would have any long-term effect on the Battlefield name. It's going to sell well enough, I would guess. It's not going to completely tank. And I don't know if if they decided, all right, EA's like, okay, we're putting Battlefield out to pasture, which they've done with other games in the past. I feel like that's an end to DICE. Like, what else do they do? Star Wars Battlefront? That was a mistake. So are they really going to ditch DICE? I don't think so. I hope not. At that point, what do you have at EA?
Battlefield,
Respawn and BioWare. Okay.
I think it's very possible that if this game doesn't do well, that the next Battlefield is completely different. It's just a new take on using the name, essentially. Using the brand.
You're gonna get another like Battlefield hardline. It's not gonna do well, and then they're gonna try to go back to old Battlefield,
which is a goddamn shame.
Yeah, you're gonna get something weird. Maybe you get something that actually competes against like Siege. That would be neat. Something a little less toxic than Siege.
Please.
You know what? Maybe 2042 ends up being really good, and that is enough to get people to buy both COD and Battlefield. I mean, if it's a really good game, that's really all it takes. But is Battlefield 2042 going to be good enough to be able to survive in that slot? I don't know. As far as Dying Light 2, well, I'm not going to dwell on this, but I did mention in replay, and I want to mention it here. I don't think that game is even going to stick with the February date. I won't be shocked if this game just like actually never even comes out. I think this game is totally broken. I think there are massive problems with this game. It's been delayed multiple times. It was supposed to come out almost 2 years ago. There is something very wrong with this game. And it's an ambitious game. It's another one of those really ambitious games.
I think it's less so that it's broken. I think they don't. To me, it feels like they don't know what game they want it to be.
Yeah, and that's evident in the videos that they put out.
Yeah, it feels very much like what Blizzard did to make Overwatch, right? They were working on a new MMO and decided this isn't fun and just scrapped all of it, which it feels like Dying Light 2 is getting to that point where they're just like, the core concept of this game just isn't good. Why else would you delay it years over and over again? Like, you have to be asking, what is wrong with the core of this game?
It's almost like Diablo 3. Because I mean, they delayed the shit out of Diablo 3, and we saw that game at launch. Absolute miss. So
they just shouldn't have made that game.
Now, Techland's had their own internal issues, which is also part of the delays, I'm sure, like new game directors and all that kind of stuff. So that doesn't help. So it's very possible that the vision of the game has changed and maybe been lost in translation. So we'll have to see. But I'm worried about Battlefield. I want it to do well. It looks really fun.
I'll try to help it as much as I can. Here, take my money, please.
Just buy like 10 copies. All right, let's move on. I think that was a good discussion. Let's move on now. A new take on Name That Game. Today we're playing Name That Dev.
I'm about to get shit on. In
Name That Dev, I give the panelists up to 10 clues. The clues start off more vague and progressively get more specific. The first panelist to guess the mystery game developer correctly wins. You only get one guess. If you're wrong, you're out. We take game developer suggestions from our $1 plus supporters over on Patreon at patreon.com/goodnightgroofs. All right, guys, are we ready to guess the dev?
Can I ask one question before we start?
Sure, go ahead.
How small of devs are we going? Or is this only AAA, or are we doing indie as well?
You'll have to find out.
Oh, God.
Here, the clues will help you in regards to that. I will say at the very beginning, anyone's in play. Anyone's in play.
All right.
Now listen, when Name That Game, there's more games than there are developers, so you know.
Right. Well, yeah.
This developer opened in 1991. This developer was originally based out of Illinois. This developer's first game sold 2,500 units and was called Operation Desert Storm. They followed that up with an RPG called Minotaur, The Labyrinths of Crete, and finally found success with their third game, Pathways into Darkness. Their first console release came in 2001 on the PS2. As an indie dev, they're currently self-publishing their latest game. This dev is currently based out of Washington. More than half of their released games were developed for Mac OS.
Oh, shit.
In fact,
What?
the title that would put them on the map was publicly unveiled at Macworld Expo 1999. And the final clue. After their 2001 PS2 game, they released a game for Xbox later that same year, and the rest is history.
Right.
Is it Bungie?
It's Bungie.
Holy shit. What the fuck?
Why did you call Bungie an indie developer?
They're an indie dev.
I guess they are technically an indie
they
developer.
are, yeah. But
ever since they left Activision.
They are now.
They are now.
Yeah. They're not
God,
part of
that was
Microsoft, and they don't have Activision publishing their games anymore. They publish
I
Destiny
had Bungie
2.
in my head like
Damn.
back before when you started naming the games. That's when I started thinking Bungie. But then you said
yeah.
indie, and I'm just like, who the fuck?
That was kind of what led me to them as well. And then the indie thing came out, and I was like, well, shit, maybe not. And then it just boom.
Yeah, they're an indie studio. I thought that the Mac thing would get you guys.
Well, yeah, that also screamed Bungie, but you said indie, and I'm like, I don't know who this is. I assume they have a publisher, but apparently they don't.
But yeah,
That's bold.
Halo was unveiled at Macworld Expo 1999 by Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've watched the entire documentary on how Halo was made.
And can we guess that 2001 PS2 game?
Oh, God.
I ain't got a goddamn clue. I ain't even gonna pretend to.
Oni. Yep. And then later that year, Halo. Kind of crazy.
Crazy shit.
All right. Now let's take a quick break around the water cooler to discuss the games that we have been playing this week. Guys, what have you been playing this week? Josh, let's go to you first.
Easy one. Obviously, I've been playing a little bit WoW here and there, not religiously, but a couple Mythic Pluses here and there. What else? I did pick up Far Cry 5 after taking it away for about 2 weeks and, not playing it for a little bit. Got a little old for me, a little stale. And that's honestly what's pushing me away, I think, from Far Cry 6. I got back into Far Cry 5, and it has just, I'm on to like Jacob's region. I've finished John and Faith, and I am just sick of it. I'm tired of clearing out the goddamn outposts. I'm tired of doing all the side missions. It's become so samey for me. I just can't stomach it anymore. I'm going to push through and beat it anyways, because the story has been okay enough to make me want to beat it. But man, it's just, I don't see how people 100% those games with the side quests. Looking at you, Matt.
I don't think I've ever 100%ed a Far Cry game.
There's just so much shit. And maybe that's just my problem. I need to stop focusing on the things that are happening in the world and just like streamline it at this point and just not even worry about all the crazy shit.
I definitely do that at a certain point.
Yeah.
I think that's where I'm at, and I just need to do it because the story is really not bad. I'm enjoying that aspect. And I mean the combat's still pretty fun. And also started up God of War over I streamed a little bit of it. It's fun. I've enjoyed the little like hour and a half I've played. I can't really give a read on it quite yet, so I'll save it for the next water cooler because I'm going to play a little bit more of it. But what I will say is I hope the combat gets a little less samey as I kind of go along. Right now it feels just spammy.
It does, but I can't get into it too much.
Okay,
I can't explain why it does.
I'll say this. I got one rune so far, and that has added a little bit of variety so far, but not enough. But like I said, I'm only an hour and 30 minutes into what people consider an incredible game, so I'm not going to try to rail it too much. But yeah, that's what I've been playing this week.
Mike, did you get to the point in the game where you understand what I'm referencing by like why I can't say how the combat changes?
No, I don't think so.
I think I got past Mike, I think, because he was hanging out and streaming. Yeah. He mentioned this is kind of where I got last time.
Okay, yeah, there's a pretty big point in that regard. Interesting that you decided to stream that game. I didn't think you would have streamed it. How's the experience been? Because you don't normally stream like narrative-based games, really.
It's interesting given the way I normally do things, but I don't entirely hate it just because if you're wanting a chill stream, one you don't really have to like focus and do too much shit on, you can just kind of play it and let it take you on the rails, which is nice.
That's true.
You can just play the game and then let the story unfold, which is actually, it's different for how I normally do things, but it sort of works when I just want to relax.
Good. Mike, what about you? What have you been playing this week?
Well, I've been playing Deathloop, which if you tuned into our stream, you would have seen me playing on the Goodnight Groofs Twitch channel, and I play a little bit more of it today. I will say that I like it, but I won't say anything else because I do have a review of the game coming out soon. I've been taking notes while I've been playing. I don't think it's a 10 out of 10 game. I'll say that much, but it's good. What else have I been playing? I've been playing some Dead by Daylight just because, I don't know, I'm bored and want something a little bit competitive-ish. I picked up a new game called Dice Legacy. That's
oh yeah, we talked about that on
interesting. Yeah, it's neat. I don't know if it's good.
It's like an it's like an RNG city builder, basically, right?
Yeah, kind of, with dice rolls and whatever. It gets really complicated and kind of annoying to deal with. And there seems to be like there's obvious mechanics to keep pushing you to build your city bigger and bigger. Like the fact that you can run out of wood if you run out of forest tiles because you can deforest them.
Oh, yeah. It's annoying.
And then once you get rid of the hunting camps, you have to start farming, which is fine. These are all fine. They're not complaints about the game. It's just it gets to be a lot to manage at once. And as someone who likes management games, when I say that it's too much to manage, it's probably a little too much. I'll still keep playing it because it has me intrigued. There's like a way to ascend dice, and there's different characters to play with, which change your starting dice. And it seems like there's a lot of replayability. So I kind of want to see what that is. I feel like I haven't really scratched the surface with it, but yeah, it's a lot. Like I can't really play it for much longer than like, I don't know, an hour at a time.
Apologies to audio listeners. I've got a fruit fly that's like flying. Didn't quite get it. Didn't get it. So we've had these really annoying ass fruit flies in the house, and I got these little fruit fly catchers from Walmart the other day, and they're still around. It's been like 2 days. Go suck the liquid that kills you. What are you doing? Sorry, Mike. Did I don't know. I probably interrupted you.
No, you're good.
Okay. All
no,
right.
That was it. That was everything.
I want to comment on your Deathloop thing. I agree. From what I've played so far, I'm still not very far in. But from what I've played so far, I think if this is a 10 out of 10, then Dishonored 2 was a 10 out of 10. Like, yeah. Dishonored 2 is an amazing game. Dishonored and Deathloop share a lot of DNA. They're also very different, but some of the level design in Dishonored 2, we could talk about that for a really long time. But
wait, question: have you finished your first day? Have you finished your first loop?
No.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm very
yeah.
Hold on. This
your opinion might change on that. Once you finish your first loop and you start doing more things. The game, I will say also, it holds your hand for a while until you get literally told. And I wrote down the quote.
That's what I've read. Is like the tutorial.
The hand holding is over. Like, you get literally told that, and then it like opens up the entire game to you, except for the online experience. I still haven't unlocked that, which I want to get to that soon, hopefully.
All right, well, what I've been playing this week, I've been playing NCAA Football 14.
The classic.
I had to bust out the old Xbox 360 with college football back in action. Got me excited to play this game. Playing a dynasty with Idaho right now, which is funny because they're not even FBS anymore. They're FCS.
I didn't think so.
But they have this really unique indoor dome that they play in, which kind of makes it fun for the dynasty. And then also, last note, never forget that Idaho used to be in the Sun Belt Conference, which makes absolutely no fucking sense.
Perfect sense, baby. Desert Idaho, excellent.
Probably why they had to drop to FCS. All the travel costs going to Alabama and Mississippi and Florida, like
Georgia Southern.
Yeah, it's a lot. Anyway, having a lot of fun with it. This will come up later in the show. All right, twice actually. Well, you'll see. I also played Call of Duty Modern Warfare multiplayer. Again, it's just such a fun game to just jump in every once in a while, play a few rounds. I just wish the game file size was smaller, like everyone else, because I don't like having to keep it installed all the time. I do want to free up some space every once in a while, but then it's like, well, it's gonna take. It doesn't even take me that long to install it. To be completely honest, I have really good internet. It's just annoying. Like I don't want to have to do it.
Yeah.
But the game it's just so good. I mean, I can't believe I was off COD for so many years. The multiplayer is just so fun. I'm so glad that I sort of rediscovered it with Modern Warfare.
There's a reason it's considered one of the best.
And it's just because I think like last year or the year before, I was like watching some it was like a military combat movie, and I was like, kind of want to like play a video game like this right now. So I bought Modern Warfare, played the campaign, loved that, and then played the multiplayer and fell back in love with COD. It had really been a long time. And then I played some Splitgate, a very tiny bit. I played one match because I do want to jump back in, but I want to play with friends. I think it'd be a lot more fun that way. But it really is it truly is Halo. Like it's Halo with portals.
Yeah.
Now, from what I played, I felt like I was the only person in the match even using portals. So it was really just Halo because no one was using them.
As like you rise up, I don't know how they do their ranking system, but as you like rise up and your KD goes up, even in casual, you get paired with people who know what they're doing with portals, and they just rock your shit with those things. And that's kind of when like the skill gap starts to increase. Because I know me and Mike in particular noticed it at a certain level. Like people would just like be sitting on one end of the map, just have a portal the other end, and just like, where am I getting fucking got from? What is this shit? But you know, that's what makes a Splitgate.
And I know it's crossplay too, so I was gonna play with Paul at some point. You know, he'll be on console, I'll be on PC, and that's really cool. I mean, a game that's in beta and it already has crossplay, that's awesome. I just think it's gonna have a hard time once Halo Infinite is out, but at the same time, you're gonna have a lot of people playing Halo Infinite who have PlayStations who are like, I want to play a Halo-like game, and they'll play Splitgate. So I think that could help it out a little bit, but I do think they're going to lose a decent chunk of their population once Halo Infinite comes out, especially because the multiplayer is free. I mean, how do you beat that?
Yeah,
you can't. Also played some Ghost of Tsushima. I finished up Iki Island. I'm probably done playing the game finally.
Praise be.
Seriously. I love the game though. Like I wouldn't be opposed to playing more. I just think like I'm pretty much done at this point. Sucker Punch they do enough differently with Iki Island that I really do think it warrants a purchase of the extra content. It's a really enjoyable part of the game. It does feel very different from the other parts of the game, and it's quite honestly, I still can't get over how pretty the game is. It is so beautiful.
So, as someone who has had my thoughts on Far Cry 5, I'm looking at Ghost as like my next one after going through God of War. Would you recommend it, even with my like certain issues I have with like open world games?
It's much more tame. Like there are outposts to take out and stuff like that, but you don't necessarily have to do all that. Like there are certain ones that and sometimes you'll have quests that take you to specific ones, and you really don't have to do it. Like I was doing it for like trophies and completion 100% and everything, so you don't really have to, I don't think. And it's just a little bit more manageable than like an Assassin's Creed or a Far Cry. It's not quite as much. And I also think that the main storyline is just pretty dang good. It's good, and the side missions A lot are better. There are some that are better than others, but specifically the ones that take you. So they have 3 kinds of side missions. They have like basic side missions that just happen with like random people. They have side missions that go into like samurai lore, which helps you unlock new moves, like new combo moves and stuff. And they have side missions that are based around 5 or 6 key companion characters in the game. And the ones that unlock the new samurai stuff are really interesting and cool, and they're very different from the others. And then the ones that are working with the other key characters are good because it's good story, to be honest. And it helps feed into the main story, and it develops those characters, and it's really good. I highly recommend Ghost of Tsushima.
Okay.
As far as like you can stay away from the basic side missions. You don't have to do those, but do the ones that are based on the key characters and the samurai stuff.
I'll do.
And then Deathloop, played very little of it. We just talked about that. But one of the things that really stood out for me, very early on, like right away, pretty much immediately, was the voice acting. And Colt and Juliana, they're just really well acted. Their banter is fantastic, and I can't wait to just experience that throughout the entire game. And then the other thing I wanted to point out, because you noticed this right away as well, is that visually the game just looks amazing. I did not expect the environments to be essentially photorealistic. I didn't think that's what Deathloop would be, but it is. But I will say the enemy characters, their character models sort of clash a bit with that. It's not a huge deal, but it's just kind of strange seeing these not quite as detailed models amongst this, like next to this rock that looks like it's legitimately a real rock. It's kind of weird.
I think I don't know. I haven't played enough of the game yet. I haven't gotten through the story yet, but it feels like there is a reason they look weird.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. They allude to the masks that they all wear several times. It seems to be a plot point. I haven't gotten there, but it feels like there's a reason why they look so weird. Who knows?
That's really interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to play more. It's been really good so far.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to a brand new mini game. This game's called Over Under. In Over Under, I give our panelists a game with a fake Metacritic score or a fake number of copies sold. They have to tell me whether the actual true number is over or under the number that I gave them. Review scores are taken from Metacritic and based on the best scoring launch platform. We'll play 8 rounds. The panelists can make the same guesses, but whoever makes the most correct guesses at the end wins. We take game titles and fake number suggestions for Over Under from our $1 plus supporters over on Patreon at patreon.com/Goodnight Groofs, where you can message us your suggestion. Guys, are we ready to play this brand new minigame?
Yeah, can we put our bids in for Vegas with these over-unders?
Yeah, this will help you decide whether or not you should make that trek to the desert.
Okay.
All right. First game, Destiny 2. It's got a fake score of 84. Is the real score over or under?
Oh no.
That's a really tough score, actually. I'm gonna go playing it. I'm gonna go with over on this one.
I'm trying to remember what it was like at launch.
That's what concerns me, but I'm basing it strictly off hype. I may be playing away and giving away my hand here. Remind me to not go to Vegas.
I don't think there was that much hype about Destiny 2.
I will say this is the third time that Destiny 2 has been in a minigame in this show, and we're on episode 13. And one of them was the Metacritic score, so it has been mentioned on the show.
Shit. Now I feel like I really fucked up.
What, 84?
84.
I would go lower.
So you say under, Josh, you said what?
Yeah.
Over.
The real score was 87.
Sheesh.
That was on the Xbox One.
Honestly, if people had played through that fully and actually had the chance to do the raid, that would have been like a 73 or something.
Was the raid the gold one?
It was awful. It was fucking terrible. Yeah, that was the one.
Oh, that was a question.
God, it was terrible.
All right, next round. Persona 5. Fake sales of 3.8 million. Did it actually sell more or less, over or under?
Over.
These are so good. I'm gonna go under.
It actually sold 3.2 million, so under was the correct answer.
Can I just resign?
Next round. Halo Reach. A fake score of 89.
Over. It had a lot of changes, so it could be under, but I'm just fuck. I'm buying into my boy Halo Reach.
I want to say under.
The real score, 91.
Shit.
Josh is 3 for 3.
Don't worry, I'm about to Atlanta sports this thing away.
All right, the next game is Super Mario Party. Fake sales of 12 million.
Which one is Super Mario Party for the Switch?
It's the most recent Mario Party game.
I would say
God, 12
I would say
million.
over. I would say over.
I'm going under.
Real sales of 15.7 million. The over win.
Hey.
Shit.
Animal Crossing sold 30 million, Josh.
I keep forgetting about that fact. Animal Crossing.
That is my metric of that's my standard.
Oh shit.
Nintendo games now.
God.
All right, we're halfway. Next game, Sea of Thieves. A fake score of 72.
I'm gonna go with over.
I hope it's over.
Are you picking over, Mike?
Yeah.
The real score was 69.
Oh
Well,
no!
shit.
Nice.
Thank you. If they rescored that game today, I would argue it'd be in the 80s.
I think that makes sense.
Next game.
I think it'd be close to 80. Yeah.
In the upper 80s. Next game.
It'd be close to 80. Yeah.
Well, in the grand scheme of 1 to 100, yeah, it'd be close to 80.
Yeah. Like, 79.
All right, next game. Hyrule Warriors. Fake sales of 2.5 million.
God, I hope. And
Over.
One.
I'm just fucking it's Nintendo. I mean, it is also Hyrule Warriors. Zelda, wow.
It was also trash.
Oh, well, fuck me.
Well, okay, I won't say trash. Some people like Dynasty Warriors and wanted to play.
And those people are wrong.
I mean, I played like 3 different Dynasty Warrior titles, and
they were great in the mid 2000s.
Shout out to Jesse Cox. He loves this shit for some reason.
They just become repetitive. But anyways, we'll say lower.
Real sales, 1 million.
Well, wow, that thing did absolute dog shit.
So 3-2, correct?
Isn't it getting a sequel? Something?
It did get a sequel.
Yeah.
Calamity, the Age of Calamity.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
All right. Next game. Flappy Bird. A fake score of 47.
Why does Flappy Bird have a score?
What?
It was a big deal.
I don't fucking know. Like lower. I had no clue.
How do you rate Flappy Bird lower than a 47? Like, what do you expect from the game? It does exactly what it says. Higher.
You guys got to use the correct lingo here. It's over and
over.
Oh, that's right. Vegas is literally fuming right now.
All right. Real score, 52.
Oh boy.
Hey, look at that.
So we are tied.
Add it up.
Right? Are we tied?
Atlanta sportsing this thing away. I told you.
Started thinking too much.
All right. Which one?
Actually,
which one did you guys both get wrong? Was that?
I can't remember.
Sea of Thieves.
That was it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Final game to break the tie, or to end with a tie. Who knows?
Yeah.
All right.
It's true.
Goat Simulator. Fake sales of 2 million.
Higher.
I hate to do it, but that's exactly what I was gonna say. Fuck it. I guess we'll go to NFL draw rules. I'm going higher too, just because my logic was YouTube.
You were both correct. It was 2.5 million.
Okay.
Hey.
Look at that. Jovial time, good buddy. Quite the draw we had there.
We're gonna break the tie.
Are we?
All right. I didn't have a plan for the tiebreaker.
Oh.
But let's see. All right, here we go. We got a game.
All right.
I think this will be a fun one. It's a little bit memey. All right.
Boy.
Whoever gets closest, no Price is Right rules, just whoever's closest to the score. NBA 2K22.
Oh, Jesus.
God.
Came out last week.
It's going to be a 67.
68.
71. Mike wins.
Damn.
Hey.
I knew it was shit, so that was why I went low.
I didn't have any idea, but I figured it would score above a 70.
There you go. This fruit fly is annoying the shit out of me. All right.
Do you have wine at the house?
No.
Damn.
Bananas. That's probably what they're going after.
I was going to say you could put some wine out and fucking drown that bitch.
Well, he's supposed to go. He needs to go drink the kill liquid. The kill drink. All right. Audience questions. Every week, we address 2 or 3 audience questions, comments, or concerns. We take questions from our supporters over on Patreon at patreon.com/goodnightgroofs. Leave your questions in the comments section of the previous episode's post. The $1 tier will get you access to the question submissions. We also take submissions at gamegroofs@gmail.com and in the YouTube comments, but our patrons will always receive priority. The first question. This comes from a woodpecker. One of the birds wrote in.
Oh, okay. Sure. Seems plausible, Matt.
Shout out to birds. Really big fan.
I'm big on ornithology. Not really. All right. If you were running a game development studio, what kind of games would you want to create? Mike.
I like narrative-based games. I'd like to create things that tell a story. Sure. I don't really know. This is a tough question from the birds.
The woodpeckers are always asking tough questions.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I like story-driven games. I like story-driven games that don't feel like a blockbuster movie. I've realized that.
Interesting. Okay.
So like one of the games that I really, really like is Inside.
Yeah.
I really like that game. I think that game's awesome. Limbo's also really good. Even Ori is really good. Just games that have a story and they don't try to over fluff the story. I guess that's what I would want to create.
All right. Good
Either
answer.
that or a really creepy horror game.
Ooh, good answers. I like it. Josh, what about you?
Gonna keep it real simple here. So I love FPS games. And while obviously Battlefield, Call of Duty, they can all scratch that itch for me, like the goddamn sweaty degenerate that I am. Nothing has still quite scratched the old Rainbow Six Vegas 2 itch. I need a cover-based shooter. Like Rainbow Six Siege is too tactical and sweaty for me. That's just not my thing. It's too weighty, yada yada yada. I need something that's cover-based, arcadey, team deathmatchy, bring back old Team Leader. That's the kind of shit I need. Not only that, give me a little more armor customization, weapon customization, shit like that, a better ranking system. There's just things they did in Rainbow Six Vegas 2 that I feel like you could retroactively make in a much better game. Just for example, you could literally be this giant, big-ass pink juggernaut if you wanted. Why not make that a thing in a game nowadays? Fuck it.
Yeah.
Be able to customize your armor. Be this goofy-looking fucking traffic cone running around the map. That just sounds great to me, and it sounds fun, and maybe it alleviates some of that toxicity you get from Siege in a game like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it'd be fun. What about you, Matt? What kind of game would you want to create?
Before I give my answer, I want to ask if you've ever, and this isn't totally like Rainbow Six, but it's along the lines of customization and that kind of stuff. It's excessive customization though. Have you ever played Escape from Tarkov or considered it?
I probably wouldn't consider it, just knowing me, but
I really want to play it.
I've heard of it. Yeah,
I also really
want to play it.
As for me, what kind of game would I want to create? Probably a 3D platformer or some small scale adventure game. I've had this idea in my mind of a 3D platform. So I like the classic like animal mascot 3D platformers. I've always just liked those. I've had this idea in my head for a really long time of a platformer where the main character is a flying pig. And you would use, you'd have glide mechanics. There would be similar mechanics to Spyro, I guess is how I would put it. I love playing RPGs, but I'm not sure I would like making them. Now, an MMORPG, that's a different story. But that would probably be my real answer here. But I also know how unrealistic that is, even for this question in which we're giving fantasy answers. It's still even unrealistic. But maybe someday I'll make my flying pig platformer.
Yeah. Even then, an MMO answer is stressful.
yeah, seriously. I have I have like this running game design document for an MMO that I've had for like years. And it would be cool to eventually like put that into practice, but it's like a headache even thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next question. This one actually comes in from Brett Favre, the Hall of Fame quarterback,
the man himself. Fuck the Packers
fan. All right, well, calm down.
Yeah, I think there's 2 non-Packer fans here, so it's okay. He played for Minnesota.
The great Minnesota Viking Brett Favre on our gaming podcast.
Yep.
You're going to disrespect New York Jets great Brett Favre by calling him a Viking. All right.
Oh, shit.
His question is, what the hell happened to sports video games? Where did it all go wrong?
Christ.
Josh, let's go to you.
Fuck, where to begin? You've given me a loaded fucking question. And I think you know this.
Oh yeah.
So let's just back it up to the PlayStation 2 days.
Ooh.
They were simple as shit. You had, I'm just going to use NCAA as kind of my metric of measurement here, just because that's pretty much what I played. It and the occasional like MLB game. NCAA games at their core gave, little bitty metrics of improvement as they went along. Graphical upgrades were always notable in each year-to-year game. You always had little bitty tweaks to the dynasty system. And occasionally, you got wholly new systems added to the game. I remember when the mascot games were added into NCAA.
Yeah.
Like where you could play as the Stanford trees, the Cardinals, but play as these goddamn trees and like play Albert the alligator from Florida and just like play football with him. It's stupid, but it's neat. So, I mean, all that said, you see this progressive development that comes from these games. They were always improving on each other. And I think NCAA did a good job of this. I think you saw that up until 2014, because 2014, I think, was the best NCAA football game we got in all of these years. I thought it was the best.
With the best athlete on the cover.
That's true. That's true.
Was it Denard Robinson?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So that all said, where did it go wrong? Well, first, we don't have any more NCAAs, but I don't think that would be the problem solver at all. I think it's just because EA realized they could just cash in on this shit.
Yeah.
Without having to put in any effort at all. You remember those graphical improvements I was talking about a little earlier with NCAA? You literally do not see those anymore in Madden. Madden looks the same goddamn as it always has. If I gave you the 2 crowds from Madden 25th anniversary to Madden, whatever the shit is out right now, you would not be able to tell a difference. I'm sorry, like maybe a minuscule difference, but nothing that's worth paying $60 for.
Yeah.
And then they just packed them full. While I don't know Ultimate Team as well as I'd like to care, just because I've given up on the sport franchises for now. It just feels like they've cram-packed them full of as many bullshit microtransactions. They've almost turned fucking Madden into a gotcha game. Same with FIFA.
Yeah.
Like, they're basically just Genshin Impact, but for non-weeps. Like, it is basically what these games are now, and it's ruined them. Like, there's no innovation anymore. You look to MLB The Show, which is fucking incredible. Like, they actually improve. The graphical fidelity on those is so much better. You look from the most recent MLB The Show. Exactly. Exactly. A Sony studio that actually gives a shit about what they're putting out for their people because they know people are going to buy their console just for this game. You can't just shovel them shit and expect them to just eat it all up. That's, to me, should be the level we're going for. And instead, with EA as like the publisher of this game, it's just slowly bringing it down, which is why, as much as I'm excited for a new NCAA game, I'm going to get it whenever it comes out. I don't have any high hopes for it in regards to anything new it's going to bring to the table. I think the Dynasty mode at best will have gacha mechanics. Maybe we'll have an offline mode to allow you to recruit. But how many packs are they going to add into that? Oh, wow, I opened a pack and now I can recruit 5% better. Like, fuck off. Just let me like recruit and be good at it. Like, I don't know. I got on a soapbox here. It's just because I really like sports games and I've had no desire to play them because they've just fucking destroyed what made them so fun and interesting from the start. And they're just really lackluster from where they once were, I think.
Agree. I think now the only sports game I still play, I haven't bought Madden since like 2016 maybe. The only sports game that I still buy, and I really only buy it every other year, is the NBA 2K series. And you can play that game without ever engaging in microtransactions. It's possible. Like, that's how I play the game. But you are exactly right. The easy answer here is microtransactions because it is the true answer. There's just a lack of innovation. They don't need to work on... See, that's the problem. The parts of the game that I like and I play that don't have microtransactions are the parts that very few people actually play. People are playing the career modes and the ultimate team modes because... I don't know, that's what's fun to them for whatever reason, but it's also the moneymaker mode. So that's where any innovation is going. They don't care about the association mode in NBA 2K. It's been the same exact thing for like a decade. Now, they did add like the MyGM mode, which is kind of cool, and but it's pretty much the same exact thing. It's just adding a little bit of like story flavor to the association, which, by the way, I really need these devs to stop focusing on story stuff in the sports game and sports games. I just don't give a shit at all. Oh. Like, I would rather, like, if I want to do like some sort of like career mode, I'm okay with that being more simulation. I don't need like the story aspect to it. Oh. Like, let me create my own story in my head for it. It's weird that there's this, that like they give a voice to my character. It's not my voice. Like, it's strange. I like you, I could talk about it forever, but let's go to Mike here and get his thoughts.
Yeah, so...
By the way, not to cut you off, but the fruit fly is dead. It is now in the beer, so it's dead.
Huzzah!
Almost drank
it. I can't really say much else. You guys all kind of hit it on the head. I can add MLB Show, I think day one on Game Pass.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. No, it's good. I'm not a Sony pony for exclusivity, so yeah, let's get it on other platforms.
Anyways, that's a different discussion.
But you don't get the dual shock, so you know it doesn't really even matter.
Yeah, but I don't have to pay for the game. So
well, I'd rather have DualSense features.
Oh, motherfucker. Here we go again, boys.
All right, go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
If you just play MLB The Show on your PC with Game Pass for PC, you can then connect the DualShock into the computer.
Can you?
Then you can use the DualShock.
I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can use your DualSense with Xbox.
I don't know that you can. Let's not market that. Anyways, the question at hand. I don't think that Ultimate Team was the beginning of the downfall. I played a little bit of Ultimate Team in NCAA and a little bit in FIFA. I thought it was interesting. I will agree it's a gacha mechanic. And because of that, it was just so grindy to get what you wanted that I just said, screw it. I don't want to play this anymore. But, you know, that's kind of like the draw of it, is that you do have to grind for it. I just am not looking for that in my football game, really. I think the bigger downfall, and this is more egregious towards 2K than to EA, is the microtransactions, is the fact that they sell copies of the game that come with all this virtual coin. And it's like, this feels off-putting. It's not coins to get, well, it is coins to get, you know, in-game items, like, you know, you want to look a certain way you can buy clothing with the virtual coins, and then you can do that to play in the street games, because you can go out and play basketball on street courts. But it's also pay to skip the progression of your character.
Yeah.
And it's like, why am I paying money and using coins to just skip the process? Like, I get it, but it feels very pay to win. And that's where I think sports games kind of went downhill. I agree that Ultimate Team has gotten ridiculous, but as far as like graphics fidelity, yeah, they haven't improved. And you can say that you're paying $60 to update the rosters, but like with like NBA at the very least, I haven't played a Madden game in years, but with NBA you can download new rosters. You can download new draft what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, draft classes.
Yeah.
And then you can use those as you progress. So you can keep the game updated without buying a new version.
Totally.
So as far as that, yeah, it's annoying, but they're going to release one every year, and I don't really expect them to do much in terms of graphics fidelity over the year to year. I expect that more to be like a 5-year thing, and every year to year is more like a let's just churn it out. And I do agree. The last story mode I played was 2K21, NBA 2K, no, 2K20, no, 2K21. It was bad.
They're really bad.
It was really bad. It was atrociously bad. Like, usually I can get away, like I can look past the campiness of most of it, but it was so in your face bad that I was like, why did you put this in? And I think it was like a big selling point. I think that was the Spike Lee one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so.
And it was just bad. It was like terrible. Bad voice acting. I didn't care. It was weird. My character had like a personality that I didn't like. Yeah. Like, I didn't like my own created character. Yeah. I was like, why did you do this? Just don't.
Yep.
Just don't.
Some of the voice acting from the other NBA players, like in the locker room cutscenes, is like honestly the worst voice acting you could possibly imagine. Do yourself a favor and look it up on YouTube. Some of these they're hilarious. Also, in the newest one that just came out, that was our tiebreaker in over under. Yeah. In the My Career mode, a character this year is literally Jake from State Farm.
Yeah.
Which is
I know about that. I know about
insane.
That. Yeah. No, that's honestly where I think the the 2K franchise has really gotten egregious, is that it is literally a walking ad.
Yeah.
There's like legitimate commercials before games, and then there's commercial breaks during the half, and they show basically commercials for real products.
Actual fucking that is egregious.
Yeah, it's
Holy
terrible.
Shit.
I wish there was a way to fight against it, but there isn't really.
No.
Until
NBA Live just sucked.
Yeah. Sucks. So. It sucks.
That's degenerate, actually. Yeah. I'm like shocked by that. What the fuck?
It gets worse every year, too.
Yes,
like that's the innovation.
More every year.
They find new ways to put ads.
It's like playing a real game. There's commercials. It's like no.
You got me fucked up thinking I'm midway through like halftime, in between like I'm playing the Hawks, someone else is the Bucks, and it's super fucking close. All of a sudden, the Dunkin' Donuts ad comes across my screen. I'm gonna be shitting bricks.
It's not that egregious yet, but it is like you go to halftime and there's like 5 different cutscenes, and sometimes they have it where it's like let's go talk to the people at the desk, and it's like Shaq and whoever else they cast that year, and it is awful.
Oh God.
Bring back NCAA basketball and NCAA football, and I'll be happy. Please. I'll deal with all the other issues with those.
Me too. Yeah, me too.
All right, let's move on. We got our sports game conversation while Paul was away.
You got me all hot and bothered, brother.
Sorry. Gamers rise up. All right. We're moving on to Tickle My Listicle. By the way, if you have a suggestion for a new name for this segment, email us at gamegroofs@gmail.com.
Please.
In Tickle My Listicle, the panel puts together a list to fit around a certain topic, and then we discuss our picks right here on the show. We'll take turns sharing our picks for each round until we get to our number one pick in the category. This week's Listicle is our top 3 video game environments. And earlier today, Mike asked me, well, what do you mean by that? I said, it's up to your interpretation. So we're going to see how this went. Mike, we'll start with you. What's your number 3?
I have to go first? No. I'm going second.
Okay, all right.
No. Start with Josh.
I'll go first. I'll man up and go first. All right.
Oh, shit.
My number one pick, I always cheat in my own mini games, so my number one pick is the entire Sea of Thieves map. It is kind of like one thing anyway. It's like one continuous thing, so we'll go with that. I love the art style of Sea of Thieves in general, but I love their environments. I love the mysterious pirate caves. I love all these different islands, which actually feel different. It's amazing that they were able to put so many different islands in the game, and they all actually feel different, even with the same exact art. It's the best water in video games, both visually and with the physics. It's stunning. It's amazing. If you haven't played Sea of Thieves, play it just to check out the water. It's truly impressive. And then I just love how massive and open it feels. You're on the ship, go up to the crow's nest, get your little binoculars thing out, or a monocular, I guess. What is it? What do you call that thing? The telescope thing. But it's like the pirate version.
Monocular?
Paris, maybe it's a periscope. I don't know.
Monocular.
It's not a periscope. It's just a telescope.
Okay, telescope. You get that out, you look out there, you see the other players on their ships really far away. Like, it just feels massive and feels super open, and it's great for just the immersive feeling of feeling like you're pirate on the seas with your friends. It is truly an immersive experience, and it's because of the world and the map. And so that's my number 3 pick. Josh, what about you?
So since we kind of left it vague and open, I wanted to go with chill and immersive.
Yeah, sure.
Because I know I've talked about Flower before, but I recently have played it a little bit more again, just because it's literally like, oh, I'm a little bit stressed out. I need to just relax. I will put on Flower and just be this fucking pedal and just fly around this world and just collect all the bulbs. And I'm just like, this is fucking the little noises it makes when it grabs the flower. Boom, boom. And like all the happy music. God damn, it's so good. So I'm gonna have to give it the old chill and immersive. It's just sucks you right in and it makes you feel right at home, like a good meatloaf.
Oh, nice. Mike, your number 3 pick.
I guess. See, like, game environments for me, they shift over the years. For example, I'll give an example. Like, Skyrim came out, and I was like, "Ooh, mountains!" And then, like, a year later, I was like, "I hate mountains," because everyone was doing mountains. I hate the snowing games. I don't want to play in a mountain environment. So, with that preface, I'm gonna try to pick environments that have been mainstays for me, and my number 3 is probably going to be games that recreate Japan.
Okay. Goated.
I have found that every game that is set in Japan, I like. I like the aesthetic, whether it's old feudal Japan or Neo Tokyo type style. I like that style of environment. I think usually they're done well, and it's a comfy environment for a game to be set in.
It's time for you to play Ghost of Tsushima, I would say.
Maybe.
Hey.
I need to finish Deathloop.
All right, my number 2 pick is the Exiled Lands map in Conan Exiles. Specifically, I love the jungle area. We've talked about me liking weather and rain in games. That's part of it. But the Exiled Lands map it's truly an amazing sandbox for a survival game. There's tons of space to build, but there's also a ton of really cool, mysterious areas to explore that were created by the dev team themselves. So it has like this RPG feel to it, that you're going into these caves, or you're going into the jungle, or you're going into this wilderness, and there's stuff to actually find, which is really cool. But at the same time, there's a bunch of open areas to build your own stuff. It's just a really well put together map. Really cozy feeling for me playing that game. Tons of different biomes. It's so well put together. I love the map, and just the whole environment is awesome. It's amazing. Another game that I just highly recommend people check out is Conan Exiles. Josh, what about you?
Gotta give it up to Battlefield maps. I think it's just because like whereas Call of Duty has attempted it, the changing maps, and then like a light tower like falls over or something. Like meanwhile Battlefield just has whole ass dams just like blowing up and water's just going everywhere.
Yeah.
Like that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of stuff I like, and that's what I'm hoping we're gonna get more of in 2042. Just because like there's whole ass maps in Battlefield where a goddamn skyscraper comes crashing down, and that's what I missed in Battlefield 1 and 5. And while I know it was there, it's so much more limited when you can have like an entire city, or like a sprawling like new age like dam or something. Like to me that's just awesome, and it nails the niche of Battlefield too.
I'm really pumped for like the weather systems in the new Battlefield. Seeing a tornado rip through skyscrapers like that could potentially be really cool.
It's going to be so over the top. I'm loving it.
Mike, number 2.
I would say basically can't say any Diablo environment because there are some maps that I don't like. But I will say Hell in Diablo feels like it should, and it feels good. It feels like it's going to be my number 2 because my number 1 is going to be also from Diablo. But Diablo 2 Hell is kind of perfect in the sense that there's souls that are suffering, there's souls that are twisted, there's fallen angels down there as well, and you get the sense of just dread down there. I'm really excited for the Diablo 2 remaster. I wasn't sure if I was going to play it. I'm pretty sure I am now. Yeah, Hell is just done so well in that game.
You heard it here first. Mike's number 1 pick is going to be the secret cow level.
I do like it. Move.
My number 1 pick is the Feralas zone in vanilla WoW.
Ooh, good answer.
Just the rain, the isolation, the beauty of the twin colossals. It always feels empty, and I love that, specifically for this one zone, though. So, like, normally I want my MMO to feel populated, but with Feralas, I like the feeling where I'm just kind of off on my own, relaxing in this trek through the forest. I love Feralas. Anytime I'm leveling an alt or anything like that, I try to go through Feralas and just take it all in as much as I can. But specifically the version in, pre-Cataclysm. It's not changed a whole lot, to be fair, in the new WoW, but I do like the original version the most, specifically because the weather systems were better in the old WoW, and the rain felt more impactful, and it was like actually physically harder to see, like it would rain harder, and I loved that about Feralas. Josh, what about you? Number 1.
Well, in the same game. So, I mean, honorable mention. I was going to have these 2 flipped, but after thinking about it, I got to change it. Honorable mention to Ashenvale and Teldrassil, kind of my nostalgic, but really where the nostalgia and where I can literally just go sit and relax if I just need to. Eversong Woods and Ghostlands. Eversong Woods just hits different. Like, something about it just, goddamn, feels like home. And Ghostlands, like, even though, stop playing classic BC at level 45, some of the most goddamn fun I've had in gaming this year has been running through Eversong Woods and Ghostlands with Mike Fave. It was fucking great. And the music, the storytelling, even in the questing, if you read the quests, it's actually fucking great.
Yeah.
And it tells a whole story. It feels like an abandoned like Blood Elf zone. And then you kind of get the vibe of what it used to be, or what it used to be with Eversong, and it just parallels that so well. The music even changing parallels it incredibly well. It's just, to me, it's some of the best world building they've done in WoW in a while. Even talking about it now makes me fucking log on WoW and just go there. It's fucking great.
What I love about Ghostlands too is that there are so many quests in that zone. The quest line for that zone is so long. It covers a good amount of levels. Yeah, it's a great zone. Mike, number 1.
So it's not the secret cow level. As much as I would love it to be, the secret cow level is not. It's not a good environment. It's just funny because they didn't use a cow actually mooing. They just had a developer sit there and go into a mic and say moo. And that is the cow sound. So they're all just saying moo over and over again as they attack you.
Is this in Diablo 2? Sorry to cut you off. Shit,
yes,
I gotta play Diablo 2. Fuck.
Diablo 2 is goated. You guys started talking about WoW, and I want to give a shout out to an honorable mention to Lion's Arch, since it was destroyed once and rebuilt. And I miss the old Lion's Arch. But we have our, jellyfish patriarch, and there's a giant. There's a giant manta ray by the raid area, and I guess that's fine. It's just all over the place instead of what it was, but it doesn't matter. My number 1 is also from Diablo. It's surprisingly from Diablo 3, and it would have to be Heaven, because Heaven was something we weren't expecting, and they delivered on it pretty immaculately, because a lot of the Diablo lore, like when you pick up Diablo, you think, okay, you're gonna go fight Diablo, who's one of the primevals, and that's true. And you think, oh well, there's angels in this world; they're the good, and Diablo's the bad. And no, they're both bad. They're both assholes, and they both want to see humanity die because it wasn't supposed to be. And Tyrael's your only shield from the angels. So to be able to go there and see not only militant force of an angelic army, but also you got to see Imperius, who was just an asshole, but that cinematic was peak. And you got to see hell creeping into heaven, which was not, I didn't expect that. That was cool too. It's just neat to see a place that you've only heard of when you were, when I was, early teen playing Diablo / probably 9 years old playing Diablo. And all they do is talk about heaven, but you never actually get to see it. You only deal with hell. And then to actually see it was it was a good moment in gaming, and they did it well. I'll give it that.
Nice. Well, confirmed by Mike, heaven is better than hell. All right.
Yeah, I would agree.
Before we get out of here, we're going to do a special shout out. Each panelist is going to give a special shout out to any video game character of their choice and provide a quick reason why this lucky character is getting this attention. I'll give my shout out first. I did say this would come up again in the show. A special shout out to my quarterback in NCAA Football 14. He threw 5 picks in the last game, but we still managed to come back and win. The score was 42-13 at one point, and we won 48-45. So I don't remember your name, my quarterback, but despite your 5 picks, we still managed to win the game. Josh, a special shout out.
Well, big shout out to my quarterback, who happened to have the name Josh, who happened to be about 7 foot tall, who happened to have all 99 stats, and who happened to carry the North Texas Mean Green to their first national championship, beating Alabama by about 75 points. Big shout out to him winning the Heisman and beating the shit out of the Crimson Tide. Go Mean Green, baby.
Perfect. Mike, your special shout out.
All right, mine is not sports game based. So my shout out is to the best, bar none, video game character ever made, Sonic.
Oh God! All right, that'll do it for us here.
No. I need to give my reason. Have you ever seen a franchise built on one character continue to survive failure after failure like Sonic? We haven't seen a Jack and Daxter game in a decade.
Ow!
But we've seen Sonic games every other year.
That hurts. That fucking hurts.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here on Mike's last episode of the Game Groofs podcast, the all-encompassing gaming podcast from the Goodnight Groofs. If you really like the show, we encourage you to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/goodnightgroofs, where we currently have 3 different tiers available. Any and all support is greatly appreciated and will go a long way in improving everything here at the Goodnight Groofs. The $3 plus tier will get you access to this very show 2 days early. A special shout out to all of our patrons currently in the $5 plus tier. Ishmael S. and Rachel S. Round of applause, please.
Good answer.
We also ask that you take a couple minutes to drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or leave a like and comment on the YouTube video. Everything helps. Make sure to check out goodnightgroofs.com for all of our content, where you'll find the blog, GG Replay, this podcast, and more coming soon. I'm not lying this time. Stuff is in the works, guys. Stuff is in the works. All right, guys, any last thoughts before we get out of here?
Well, keeping in line with the sports. Go Badgers, go Blue, go Gators, and fuck Tennessee.
That'll do it for us here today. Nope, Sonic, you can die. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me. Take care, everyone.